Hello everyone, welcome back. Again, another Firestorm Gazala game. Still round 2, so this is game 5. And I am playing as the British and Jimmy is playing as the Afrika Corps again. And finally, I seem to have the jump on the Afrika Corps for once because we will be attacking in dust up. So not really that much of a difference, but at least I get to pick the corner to defend, to attack from at least. So at least I can pick some more favourable terrain. So, my army today, I am using a Grant Armoured Squadron. So that is 2 for the HQ, and then there's 2 troops of 3. So I'm trying to find what I like to prefer in regards to British mid-war tanks after trying and failing with the Death of Glory Squadron last game against Dave. I know I won the game, but at a cost. I might as well try the Grants out again. At least in a formation anyway. With them though, they're not on their own. I have a Indian Rifle Company to bolster the front line. So I have my HQ of 2 SMLEs and then 2 full platoons of 7 Bren rifle teams, a boys anti-tank rifle and a 2-inch mortar. I almost said Piat there. I wish there was a Piat in them, but I decided not to upgrade them with it because they wasn't around yet. The same reason I'm not using the 17 25 pounders. And when I do use Shermans, they're very limited in number, just so it's fair. And Jimmy's gone for the same thing. He's not taking Fallschirmjäger or the dreaded Tiger, even though it was knocking around about now. In this formation as well, we have 3 6-pounders at the back, 4 Vickers heavy machine guns, 4 3-inch mortars, and 2 units of universal carriers. And I've also gone for a Hurricane flight, because knowing Jimmy, he will take Marauder's, and I would like to get rid of them before my tanks come on. So command cards, Indian Rifle Company, sticky bombs, and that is it. So Firestorm units come in the form of the 3rd Indian Motor Brigade. So kindly, I have a full motor platoon with soft skins, and of course the Indian Motor Company command card. So I think these will be my main defenders for today's mission, and that is my list. So let's see what Jimmy is going to be defending with. Okay, now this is Jimmy's list. Just one formation for him today, a Panzer III company. So he has a HQ of 2 up-armoured Panzer IIIs. He then has a platoon of 4 short 5cm Panzer IIIs, and then he has a platoon of 5. And then that is 2 longs, 2 shorts, and a 7.5cm. So hopefully, if my luck holds, I'll be able to get rid of that and before any objectives start getting taken. But that was a ifs and buts. You know, as soon as plans make contact with the enemy, everything falls apart. Plenty of support though. 3 Marauders, those are the nasty ones. Lucky I got the Hurricanes. Then we have a short Afrika rifle platoon right in front of us behind the howitzers. So just 3 MG34 teams and their trusty anti-tank gun there. And of course 4 10.5cm howitzers. And we also have 3 captured 6-pounders. And that is it. So the only command card in use today is the captured 6-pounders. Firestorm unit, Jimmy has been blessed with 2. So he has, of course, a Afrika rifle platoon, as we can see in front of us, and that has been gifted by the Light Africa division. That's a full platoon, so 4 MG34s, an anti-tank gun, and a mortar, and some trusty half tracks. He wishes some soft skin trucks, and also he has a full Italian rifle platoon from the 27th division, the Brescia division. But unfortunately, these guys are using the Legion of Rome card, so won't be as good as all that. So that is the list. The mission is dust up, so let's have a look at the board before we start applying. As I started picking my corner for the battlefield, I just remembered I haven't did a little recap of the battlefield. So in this corner here we have some soft sand. Didn't really have enough sand bases, so this bit here without any lichen on it is going to be soft sand too. In this corner we have some scrub, a little dune there to break up the scenery. little village here, so we've got a bit of roads going through, another well again in the corner, and then over here the escarpment, and then this middle section, wreckage from a previous battlefield. So you can see here some light scout units have kind of contested this little area of the road, and now the main battle seems to be erupting over here. So this is the battlefield, and as you can see I've just started to occupy this corner, which means James is going to have to occupy this one. Decided this one would be better for him since he can't dig in on the soft sand, so have fun with that, James. And so with cornered, my reserves will be coming from this area and his ones from here, so should be an interesting one since all our tanks are in reserve apart from his Panzer III HQs. So yeah, be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing how it pans out. We are fully deployed. It's been a long time since I've had a deployment where you go, then your opponent goes, and you know, back and forth, which is a bit challenging when we're doing it via WhatsApp. But in the end, we were all down, so I had to deploy first. So I teased him with a bit of a spearhead thrust over here. So he countered that with his Italians. My idea was I really wanted to kind of go for this side, but because of the soft sand here, it's really condensed his deployment. So when he put down his, he started with the anti-tank gun, sorry. So then I put down my mortars, and then he placed his Italians. So then, trying to draw him away from this area, I put down my heavy machine guns, to which he responded with his artillery. And then my 6-pounders went down, and thus we end up with this. So basically, I put another spearhead over here with a platoon of infantry. My Firestorm units are holding the objective over here, the help on this ridge. And over here, with the other spearhead, I have another platoon with the HQ. So ideally I wanted all my platoons together, but I wanted to probe each side and hopefully weaken him for when the grants come on from this side if they're needed. They probably will be. At least I could get rid of some anti-tank guns before they arrive. The Marders are a problem, but I do have the Hurricanes to try and deal with them. This platoon is going to do more or less the same thing, occupy the building and give him something to think about over here. As you can see, his HQ tanks are deployed in the centre, with his Firestorm units here around the 10.5s, and then his platoon is in this building. When he rolled the 8 million dice, they are just regular conscripts. So the Legion of Rome conscripts, so skill 5, reluctant. Their rally rating's pretty good though, but they're not going to be hanging around in a fight too long. This is where the German reserves are going to come from, basically halfway line to here. So these infantry occupying a building could scupper some of James's plans, hopefully. And then the UCs, whether I use them as a cavalry kind of unit again this game after the what happened with Dave, who knows. But I think I'll just have them moving around, fixing some units in position while I do everything else. My biggest worry though is he'll launch his own attack down the centre, because I'm quite thinly spread here with just a motor platoon and the Vickers heavy machine guns. But my plan is hopefully they can wither down any attacks coming this way, and if there's nothing coming down this way, the Vickers can do a bombardment and pin some of the stuff here. So it's really cheeky, but yes, the British can do that with the Vickers heavy machine guns, tactically used from World War I, but anyone playing this game will read that in the section on them anyway, but it's quite a handy rule to have. So I think my first turn, my plan is probably a smoke bombardment across here, so to screen my infantry advance. Might seem a bit premature launching this attack now, but I don't want his tanks coming across and doing anything. So we'll see how it goes. Wish James all the best of luck, and hopefully my dice will roll a bit better today. If not, they're getting burnt, and maybe they can go to someone as a prize next week. So here we go. Oh, and also we don't know who's going first, so we'll roll that on the day. Right everyone, we're ready to start. For dust up we have to roll to see who has first turn. Highest one gets it. So I shall roll here and I get a 2. James, what do you get?
Well, you've got to be kidding me.
He's got a 1. Okay, right then, so I've got first turn. Good luck to you, James. Okay, off we go for turn 1. Okay, ideally I wouldn't have liked to have gone first, I would rather have gone second. These boys here have moved out their foxholes towards this building. The unit leader popped in with a follow me, which the guys here did not want to get part of, so they're stuck outside for now. The UCs have gone behind this wall, and my UCs over here have moved around as well. I'm not going to fire anything, can't fire any bombardments because it's a meet and engagement, and I think I'm just going to remain gone to ground for now with my guys. So we're going into James's turn 1. Movement wise for Jimmy, he's moved his Panzer IIIs here to hose down some of the infantry, soften them up while this platoon here, their Firestorm unit moves towards the building. 2 of them can get into contact with the unit leader in here this turn, and the 3 Marders are moved here, but such a way that they are completely hidden from the 6-pounders on the ridge, so I can't shoot at them this turn. And that is where we leave movement, so shooting will be Operation Soften Up this platoon, and then we'll see if there's going to be any assaults. Okay, so shooting wise, the guy in the building and behind this wall has been killed by a mixture of MG fire from the rifle platoon and the Marders. The 10.5s before that put down a smoke barrage, so the UCs can't help for an assault. There won't be an assault this turn because these are too far away now. The mortar from the platoon as well ranged in just below the ridge and has pinned down the 6-pounders, Vickers heavy machine guns, and the motor platoon. No casualties yet from there, so going into my second turn, I have a fair few rallies to do. So first of all, the platoon behind all the smoke, and they rally on a 6. My 6-pounders rally, my motor platoon rallies, and the one I need to rally, the Vickers heavy machine guns, and they rally too. Oh, that's bad. And lastly, do my aircraft turn up? They do on a 4. So there we go. I think for once my dice have been kind to me, so hopefully this luck will hold, and as I get into my second turn. Okay, so not much movement, it's all down this side at the moment. The UCs are driven through the smoke, the guys have occupied the building, and my Hurricanes have turned up behind the Marders. I've already put down my ranged in markers, being a bit optimistic that I might actually range in this turn, so I'm going to crack on with them first and then see what other small arms I can fire. So here we go into British shooting. I managed to range in with both teams, second attempt with the Vickers, and because of that I was unable to hit anything under the template, which is a shame. The Universal Carriers got quite a few hits, but no kills. The infantry team managed to get rid of one of the MG34 bases, and I had enough hits to actually pin them, which is nice. I managed to remove one of the Legion of Rome stands and pin them. And my Hurricanes bailed one Marder and blew up another. The other one managed to bounce the hit on a Mighty 6, so that's quite good. So we're going into German turn 2, so this smoke disappears. My poor Universal Carriers are just going to have to take that on the chin. And starting up, you have a bailed out Marder, and that is getting back in on a 4+. So he stayed out. The infantry who are pinned down your Afrika rifles are rallying on a 4+.
No.
Okay, and then your Italian Legions of Rome are rallying on a 4+. They're determined.
Yeah.
Yes, the Italians are unpinned. Okay, and then basically you have a last stand test to do on your Marders on a 3+. 4. Yep, so they're fine on a 4 for now. Okay, so now we're going into German turn 2. Only thing that happened in the movement phase was the infantry dug in, so we just cracked on straight into the shooting. 4 hits total on the gentleman in this building, no casualties. The 10.5s actually fired directly into the building but only got 1 hit. And yeah, they are brutal, so I had to roll a double save, but luckily okay. The Marders and Panzer IIIs fired on my UCs and have been rewarded with 1 dead and 2 bailed. So with the British remount and last stand, these UCs will probably go, so just double check this stat line. I should know these off by heart, the amount I lost UCs last game. So they're 4+ confident, but their last stands are 5+. So going into my startup step, I have 2 dice, so wherever they lie, oh, they both get back in on 5s. No last standing for these boys. And I have nothing else pinned, so let's see what I roll for first. Is it aircraft or reserves? So I am rolling for reserves first. So first point for reserves, no, and aircraft, no. No aircraft, no reserves, and we're going into British turn 3. Only movement I've done is my UCs who, frankly, they don't realise why they're still there, so they've reversed a bit, parked them by here, mainly because more Panzer IIIs are going to turn up at some point, so they're parked, so the other Panzer IIIs are going to have to move to come and get them, so all of the Marders can still have a go at them. The other UCs are behind the ridge, so nothing can see them yet, so everything's just getting in position, mainly waiting for my tanks to turn up before I decide on anything. And here we're going now into shooting, so because I'm already ranged in, hopefully my bombardments will have a bit better success this turn. So, British shooting. Okay, so I managed to pin down the 10.5s and the infantry platoon I was already pinned down with the Vickers heavy machine guns. No kills though. I fired my infantry at the 10.5s and I killed it with the knee mortar, which was nice. I then fired the boys anti-tank at the Marder and almost got it, but James rolled a 4, so quite clear bounce. Another guy has been killed from the Legions of Rome, and they're indeed pinned again. So going into turn 3, James, you've got your remount for your Marder on a 4+. Nope. Your rifle platoon is rallying on a 4+. The Afrikas, they rally. Your 10.5s, do they rally?
Yep.
Nice. And your Italians rally on a 4+. No. And then you have 1 dice for reserves.
Did the Marders need the last stand again?
Oh yes, good shout. 3+. No, the Marders rolled a 1, so they're running away. And thanks, James, for reminding me that. Good sportsmanship there. But now you have your dice for reserves. No. 4. So we're going into German turn 3, but without their Marders. Movement done. The small Afrika rifles have moved out this building over here to lay down more fire onto the guys in the building. And that is it for movement. James would have liked his reserves, but so would I. And here we're going into shooting for turn 3 for the Germans. Shooting wise, basically 2 platoons of infantry here and the Panzers have pinned this platoon in the building, and that is it. Over here the Vickers heavy machine guns got pinned and the 6-pounders got pinned as well. So going into my turn 4, I have some stuff to unpin. So first of all, the platoon in this building rally on a 6. The 6-pounders don't rally, and the Vickers rally on a 6. I then have 2 dice for reserves. Snake eyes, so no reserves. And aircraft. I get aircraft though, so at least something's coming in. So I'm going into turn 4. So my movement is done, the Hurricanes are right by here. The UCs have moved back because there was danger close for them. So they're in a position so they're close enough to try and get the guys outside of the foxholes. So that would be a good addition for some kills by there. My UCs here have moved off the ridge, and my infantry are finally making their push up across the battlefield. I was thinking of trying to keep them in the cover, but if they were bunched up, the 10.5s will only go for them anyway. So that's unfortunate, but that's what's going to have to happen. So we're going into the shooting now, so let's see what I can do. I will be starting with a smoke barrage, starting by here and going across to cover up the 6-pounders. Okay then, so that's my shooting done. My Vickers kindly pinned down the first short platoon. This team is unpinned though, but they lost their heavy machine gun. Both HQ Panzers are pinned. Did have a chance to blow one up, but I fluffed my firepower unfortunately. These guys did fire at their halted rate of fire. Probably if I hadn't, I would have had a full rate. These guys would have been pinned, but I still will assault, but I have a special order I want to do things in. Over here, the Italians took a few hits. They are gone to ground and concealed, so it was very difficult to hit them anyway. So no kills here so far. And that is it. So my planes will fly back to base and hopefully come back at some point. And now I'm going to assaults. The assault's over. I started with the UCs. They almost got bailed for defensive fire because it was just the MGs that could reach them. Luckily he only rolled a 2 for his firepower. The UCs then killed one of the MG-34 teams. The MGs then counterattacked. 2 hits, but I managed to bounce both. But even though I rolled a 5 for my counterattack, unfortunately I needed 6, so they broke off outside 6 by here. Then once that was done, the infantry went in. Even though I had 3 bases onto one team, they didn't get any hits and killed another, but then they broke off. And the other platoon, which did cover and fire, was more than 4 inches away, so they couldn't jump in either. So that is those 2 platoons pinned down by here. They're still in coherency. Let's move this guy over here, so they don't have to last stand at least. But going into Jimmy's turn, we have a few motivations to do again. Okay, so in James's startup step, he has 2 bailed out tanks. So the 2 IC, roll 2 dice for him, basically 3s to get back in. A 1 and a 6, so yeah, so he's back in. And then your HQ.
2 dice again?
Yep, 2 dice again.
That's 6 and a 5.
Yep, so they're both back in. Then we're down onto the pinned down stuff. So your Firestorm unit, that is pinned.
4.
Yep, they're unpinned. And then your small Afrika rifles, that is pinned as well.
No.
No, and then your Italians, which rally on a 4+. Yep, they unpin, and then you have 2 dice for reserves.
Oh my God's sake.
2 and a 1, so no reserves for Jimmy again this turn. Looks like we're both going to have to just deal with what we have on the board for now. And now we're going into turn 4 for the German. German shooting. The Italians managed to take out one of the advancing British infantry. No kills there though. Let's get rid of the smoke before we forget about that, and there's going to be no more smoke for the rest of the game because that is all our smoke grounds depleted. The infantry here have been pinned again and have actually lost a team this time, and again my Vickers and the 6-pounders have been pinned again over here. So, going into my turn 5, I have my pinned down team that is in this building, and they don't rally. My 6-pounders don't rally, and then the Vickers heavy machine guns don't rally. So there we go, so nothing rallied this turn. For reserves I will be getting something in at least, so 3 dice, and I get 2 6s, so I get 2 units in. Let's see what I decide to bring in, and then of course my 1 dice for aircraft. No aircraft this turn, so 2 of my reserves come in and we go into turn 5. So this is my movement. The Grants have moved on, infantry have moved up, kindly providing some corridors for the Grants to fire through. The UCs are kind of moving around onto the flank of the 6-pounders, give them a little thing to think about when they go to shoot next turn. Everything else is pinned, so I couldn't move it, but the UCs have moved around this building to fire down here, so try and goad these Panzer IIIs to move a bit. And that is it, so only the 1 template I can fire this turn, because the Vickers are pinned. So off I go now into shooting. So shooting so far, I couldn't range in because obviously the Vickers are pinned. My universal carriers to the side of this building managed to take out the mortar and the Firestorm unit, so they're last standing. And a plucky rifle guy fired and killed this 10.5cm howitzer. Elsewhere, I've managed to pin the 6-pounders and the Italians, but no kills. No kills with this lot. So I will be going into an assault. So hopefully this will go well for me. The assault, I managed to run the gauntlet of defensive fire, killed 1 Italian. They did counter-attack, but I had to re-roll because I'm Indian infantry, to which they failed because they're reluctant on a 5. The 6-pounders did not fire in cover fire because they would have had to pull back as well. So far it's just the Italians who are out of their foxholes with the 6-pounders still intact. Going into James's turn 5, what would you like to try and rally first, James? Alright, so you got your short Afrika rifles rallying on a 4. They rally. Your captured 6-pounders rallying on a 4. Nope. And then your Italians rallying on a 4+.
Nope.
And then you have your last stand on your Firestorm unit on a 3+. Nope, they run away. And then 2 dice for reserves. 3 dice for reserves. So 1 comes in, so you can decide now what it's going to be. And now we're going into German turn 5. Movement wise, this is where the Panzer IIIs have come on from. They have dashed right from the corner where my mobile phone holder is, and everything else, these guys have finally moved from this spot and they're dashing over to try and hold the objective, and the short Afrika rifles have moved into this building. That is it for movement. The Italians tried to dig in but failed, and everything else is pinned, and the 10.5s are just going to do their 10.5ing, and that is it. So shooting now. Okay, shooting wise, the 6-pounders traversed and they've wiped out my UCs. The Italians have pinned my rifle platoon, but no kills, and I lost a 6-pounder to the 10.5s. So that is it for me going into turn 6. So now I've got some stuff to rally. So first of all, my 6-pounders, which don't rally, my Vickers heavy machine guns, which do, and the platoon on the objective, which rally on a 6. Okay, and then there's no point me rolling for my reserves. I used the wrong token because they'll be coming in anyway. So 6-pounders are the ones who are not rallying, which is a shame. And I'll be bringing my other grandson. But there's one more thing I do need to roll for, and that is whether my planes turn up or not. And they don't on a 3. So we're going into British turn 6. Okay, we did forget to rally this unit. They did rally and they're pushing up with the UCs. My reserve grants dashing behind the escarpment just to add a bit more security onto my objective. these guys have tactically moved up, and the infantry are pushing up again within assault range for the 6-pounders and the Italians, so hope they can get rid of them. And that is it. We're going into shooting phase. So over this side, my 6-pounders failed to hit anything. My mortars tried to range in to suppress the guys in this building and the Italians, but failed to range in. The Vickers ranged in on their last attempt, but got no hits. I did manage to pin these guys with helps from 2 Grants and the UCs and these guys, but no kills. The other Grants wiped out the Italians here, and we're down to just 3 Italians in that unit, thanks to some sporadic rifle shots from the British as they went in. So I'm going to do an assault again, so try and clear away the 6-pounders and the Italian infantry. So here we go, assault for turn 6. So the game is over. I moved into an assault onto the units there. Only took 1 hit from the Italians, which I saved. Only killed 1 Italian unit. For some reason, these guys here failed with their assault hits. But then the Italians and 6-pounders failed their counterattack, and they didn't even. It was the first one as well they rolled. So that is game, because I started within 4 and there's no one contesting it. So I've only lost the 1 unit of UCs, so let's double check. I believe that is a... So lost 0 to 1 unit, so that is an 8-1 win. So what we'll do, I'll ask James now. Do you have an MVP, James? And I suppose I'll give you mine, and then we'll see what we would do things differently if we were to play it again. So who is your MVP, James?
I think the capture 6-pounders, but they're the only thing we actually did anything at the end of it.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. My MVP was the 2nd platoon of infantry, the ones who occupied the building, because it held everything there long enough so when my Grants actually turned up, I was able to make a push with just Italians and 6-pounders in front of me, which was a bit easier, I think. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd say that. That held me off that entire game, that side.
Okay, so when I set up this game, I think James felt I was going to launch my spearhead and main assault from this side of the board, the long edge. That wasn't actually my intention. It was going to be more down the short end, but because of the build-up of troops, I switched my choice to go up there, and I was thinking of doing it from turn 1 with the infantry, but I felt I wanted to wait for at least some tank support. And obviously my main goal was for the infantry to occupy that building, to be a thorn in his side. Didn't expect the potential assault to come in that first turn, and obviously my goal for the Hurricanes was to come in and get rid of the Martyrs, and that's the only thing they did. So they did get their points worth for that objective that I set them, so well done them. So I suppose if that infantry team hadn't done so well, the Hurricanes might have had MVP off me, but they have an honourable mention. So James, anything you would have done different? Anything different about your list, or...?
I would have had a spearhead, because I wasn't too concerned going into the game, because I felt like I could deploy to counteract it, except I forgot you had the 2nd spearhead. But yeah, definitely bring a spearhead next time, just to make the game more open up, because I felt like I had to go on the aggressive in that first turn, but then bogged down immediately.
Yeah, I suppose...
What about you?
I suppose what you could have done is, instead of your short Afrika rifles, you could have taken 2 scout car platoons, or maybe even the Panzer IIs to make your formation that a little bit fleshier, but you didn't actually take any damage on your formation in the end. It's just they came in too late.
Yeah, came in too late for you to do any damage to them.
Yeah. I think my UCs did better than they did last game, mainly because they didn't run out of any fuel, and I apart from second platoon, I adopted more of a cautious approach with my infantry. Did you expect any of that from me, James?
I didn't expect you to sit and wait so long on the north flank. I didn't. And yeah, but that was it. I was kind of pretty satisfied that flank wasn't doing anything for a while. But then didn't really try to combat when your tanks came on. Like you mentioned to me, I'd used my smoke so early I couldn't kind of like fire my smoke in return to be a nuisance to you.
Yeah, I was very worried about my infantry not being able to get into that building with the follow me. I was really surprised when your infantry came at me to try and go for an assault. That was a surprise, but I felt quite confident that if you had got in, I would have repulsed you. Being Indian troops.
I did that because I knew I needed to do something off the start to try, because that was the only flank I could see me pushing out from to go and push for my objectives. But like I said to you, I was kind of glad in the end I couldn't assault.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I would have taken a complete battering.
Yeah, because even well, see, my counterattack is quite decent, and the fact is you have to re-roll your first successful against Indian troops is quite horrific. That's why when I saw the Italians guarding that objective, I knew as soon as I went in, they would be breaking off unless you were really had some really good rolling. But yeah, still enjoyable game. It is difficult. It still took 6 turns to whittle you down, but yeah. Some very lucky shots from those guys in that building onto well, I think those guys in that building got rid of 2 howitzers and then 2 of the Afrika rifle platoons between them.
Yeah.
Almost anyway. And it almost got a marder as well in that early first turns. Okay, right.
Yeah, no, it just turned out to be a bad game for me.
Yeah, you the dice I bought you seem to do quite good, mind. Not apart from save rolls.
Yeah.
Okay, right, I'll wrap this up and have a little chat with James so I can obviously see him when I go back to work. And everyone take care. Please subscribe. There's a little competition running at the moment. You'll see it on my announcements tab on my channel, and so the closing date will probably be on the Friday coming up, but yeah, so basically you just go on now, all the instructions on there. It's just a bit of a thank you for everyone who subscribed and has been watching my videos lately. So everyone take care, and see you next time for round 3 hopefully, and hopefully the British will be doing a bit better.